I fire up Loom and I make a little 2-minute video that says, here's what we're doing. Here's why we're doing it. Here's how it's going. And here's what you can expect next. And I just show them the important numbers. I see questions about should I run this campaign objective and this kind of strategy and all of those things. I'm not saying they aren't important, but if you don't have an offer that people want, it's not going to matter. Focus on finding their like top 5 best-selling products and lead with those, whatever they are, because chances are those are the things that are going to bring people into the store. We're live. Good to see you fine folks again. Welcome to my office. As you can see, it's a mess. Children have been here and destroying things. Just a quick little update. For those of you guys who have bought the El Chapo ads or one of the packages for that, or as well the raise your prices to go from 500 to 10,000 is what we've had folks do with it. Just letting you know that we will be doing some bonus Q&As. I haven't announced the dates or times yet. It's a little close to Christmas, and I know everybody can't make it so all the days, but you guys will be getting some of those. So anything you want to go over, your business, your how to get clients, the delivery side, white label deals, reporting, building teams, whatever, we're open to it. It's so I just wanted to let you guys know that'll be coming down the road. That's all I got for quick announcements. So let's get into the good stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Frankie Finn proudly brings you our weekly Q&A. There's our man Cole. All right, folks, let's get into the questions. Let's get into the good stuff. Love the businesses you guys are building. Aaron says, it's taking too much time manually writing client reports. Any services out there that can produce them automatically by gathering data from ad platforms? Bonus if there's one that also uploads offline events from Facebook. Thank you, Aaron. Aaron, I'm going to save you what took me about 7 years to figure out. So I used to, in my first SEO agency, we made all manual reports, and it's a lot of fucking work to make manual reports, as you surely know. So I tried switching over to automated reports, and what I found with the automated reports was for years and years and years and years, I tried every tool, and they were pretty, and they were nice, and they made charts and graphs, but at the end of the day, clients didn't understand the fucking reports, and so I would still have to spend time explaining the damn report to the clients because they'd say, well, this looks really cool, but what does it mean? This is like Greek or this is hieroglyphs to me. So one day I fired up TechSmith Jing, which is like Loom, and I recorded a little screen video for a guy, and I said, well, let me just show you what these numbers mean. And I told him 4 things in the video. I said, here's what we're doing. Here's why we're doing it. Here's how it's going. The good, the bad, and the ugly, by the way. And here's what you can expect next. Let me say that again. Here's what we're doing. Here's why we're doing it. Here's how it's going. And here's what you can expect next. Those 4 things. And I found it was the first time a client was like, thank you. Like, I really appreciate that. And so I'll tell you how we make our reports now is every second Friday, I fire up the old Loom. I still do this myself, although I could easily outsource this. I like being the face to the clients. And I fire up Loom and I make a little 2-minute video that says, here's what we're doing. Here's why we're doing it. Here's how it's going. And here's what you can expect next. And I just show them the important numbers, but I tell them in plain English what's going on. No fancy reports, no difficult thing to understand. And the cool thing about this, I'll tell you, like 90% of our questions have disappeared since we've gone to this format. So if you want to completely eliminate, give somebody else that formula and have them make those videos for you. But I'll tell you, you'll never find an automated tool that will take all the work of reporting to clients, because what will happen is they won't understand the automated reports, and then they'll go, well, what the hell am I buying from you? Because I don't understand half this shit anyway. And so the best thing you can do is just tell them in plain English, and you'll save yourself. And that's the format. Here's what we're doing. Here's why we're doing it. Here's how it's going. And here's what you can expect next. You do that, and you'll have happy, compliant clients who understand, especially if you play offense on the reporting. That's why we do it every 2 weeks. Just little 2-minute updates. I call them Frankie's drive-by updates. So I go, hey, client name, here's a little drive-by update, and then I do use the format just mentioned. Madon Madden, I hope I'm saying that right. He says, hi, Facebook experts. We got a special little guest here.
Mommy, can you bring the speaker because she wants music?
Mommy wants the speaker for music. All right, you got it.
Music.
It's getting serious over here.
Is there music in this?
Mommy can connect with her phone. She knows how to do it. Says, hi, Facebook experts. Just checking. About to sign a client who is running a furniture business both online and in-store. Has anyone assisted a furniture business before? I'm planning to run campaigns based on traffic as an objective and then run a remarketing campaign to sell specific products with a discount offer. Any tips to share? Much appreciated. All right, my man, here's the deal with that. As always, and I'm not like necessarily the furniture expert, but as always, you want to focus on the most important shit, which is what are you actually offering them? So I see questions about should I run this campaign objective and this kind of strategy and all of those things. I'm not saying they aren't important, but if you don't have an offer that people want, it's not going to matter. And so the furniture store is not really new. Like, I don't know if you've seen this like on TV for years. They have like the Frankie Finn's Furniture Blowout. Don't pay a cent event until 2023. Come on down. We got couches and beds and blah, 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 and we're giving them away. And the reason they do that shit is it works. It fucking works. So if you're helping a client sell furniture, instead of just, hey, we got a bed and drive some traffic and then retarget people and say you can get the bed cheaper, think about how the big successful furniture companies move product. And almost always, by the way, a lot of their offers are driven around financing. This is kind of an advanced topic that we talk about sometimes in our mastermind, but the richest companies in the world, like banks, and you can also throw in car companies, they sell all their shit on financing, 100% of it. So there's no reason you can't take everyday couches and beds and things like that and sell them on financing, where get the bed today, don't make a payment for like 3 months and those kind of things on approved financing. That's how furniture's been sold for forever. So do not reinvent the wheel. If you combine that with some traffic and some retargeting, as you mentioned, it'll probably work. But nail the offer is my thing. And I would focus on finding their like top 5 best-selling products and lead with those, whatever they are, because chances are those are the things that are going to bring people into the store. You may be able to sell them something else, but half the battle is just getting them to come into the place in the first place. But you do that, you come up with a great offer and a great hook, the don't pay a cent event till 2023. I might actually do this. You'll see that it works in businesses that don't normally do this. I might actually do this as a part of a course. We'll see. I might launch something before Christmas and say like, Frankie Finn's don't pay a cent until 2023. You guys will see that this stuff works even in industries where they don't typically use it. So that would be my advice there, is really think long and hard, giggity, about your offer and nail that piece, and all the ads will get a lot easier. Ryan says, is it just me or is everyone looking at their Facebook ads like this GIF right now? Nearly all of my Facebook ad campaigns have tons of clicks, landing page visits, but almost zero conversions. I'm starting to feel like Facebook, Instagram are a big waste of time. Is it just me? Is anyone doing something different to overcome low conversions? Ryan, I'm going to be the guy who gives you the difficult to hear news. Is almost always when people think it's the ad platform, it's not. So I hear people say, oh, Facebook and Instagram are not working. I'm going to go try the TikTok. I'm going to go run YouTube ads. I'm going to run Google ads. Sometimes that's true, that like an ad platform can be bad for what it is you're doing. But as a general rule, it's usually just the offer, which is why I'm so big. Like, sometimes I feel like I'm a broken record saying this over and over, but if you have an offer that converts, I'll tell you the best way I found to use Facebook and Instagram. So there are kind of like generally 2 types of ad platforms. One is like interruption marketing, and Facebook and Instagram are interruption. And then one is I was looking for you kind of thing. So like Google and Bing and those kind of, and Yahoo, those kind of things are like, I was looking for you. Or even YouTube to a certain extent, you can target people who are searching for certain things. And so it's kind of pull in that regard. When somebody is looking for like Nikon camera 893, you can just say like, I have a Nikon camera 893 and probably sell it without a lot of muss and fuss. But if you really want your business to thrive long term, you have to really, I think, nail interruption advertising. And interruption advertising has three basic offers that if you nail these offers, you'll never ever be hard up for money. So one of those is what one of my mentors calls coffee date. Coffee date is like a come to my world and just check out me and what I do. So in my world, it might be like the Facebook group, or I might give away a free PDF or a lead magnet, or come check out a video on our channel. But that's like all coffee date. Second thing is what we call first date, and that's when you actually agree to work together in a paid assignment in a small scale way to see if you want to do more. And then the third is the marriage offer. And what most people do in our world is they struggle because on interruption ads, they try and go straight to a marriage offer. It can be done. So don't get me wrong. Don't let me tell you guys you can't do it. But I prefer to go coffee date, first date, marriage. And the reason to do that is because if you do coffee date, you'll get the maximum number of people to respond. And if you nurture those people, you'll get first dates out of that. And if you nurture those first dates well, you'll have a whole lot of marriages, and you'll have good marriages. I know nobody will tell you about that, but like that's such an important part of our business is actually having clients that you fucking want in the door in the first place. Because like so many people, like so many of the challenges I see in this industry is they haven't screened hard enough for the right kind of clients. And if you don't do that, you're going to make your life miserable. So that's my way of saying it's probably not Facebook and Instagram ads. It's probably one of those three offers. And I would suspect if you're running those kind of ads, it's probably just coffee date offer is not converting. And if you convert coffee date offer, you'll at least start bringing people in your world. And the cool thing is, if they're not interested in coffee date, then selling them that thing on a first date or a marriage is not going to work any better. What's up, Nathaniel? Do you have any suggestions on an offer for a PI attorney reactivation campaign? I got an exact one I can send you, Nathaniel. What we typically do, by the way, the format of our reactivation, I'll send you a PM and I'll send you the actual campaigns we run. But usually it's just it's a thank you, we appreciated your business. We want to be your most trusted legal advisor for life. And that's why we created this free VIP number where if you have any legal questions at all, just call here and we're happy to answer them. And that's it. I know it sounds so simple, but you're saying thank you. You're telling them why you're giving them this offer, and then you're saying we have a special VIP number for you to call to answer your questions. And almost always the lawyers win two ways. So way number one is they'll get referrals. And we also say the VIP number is not just for them, but it's for their friends and families. It's like a secret number. It's just our tracking number that forwards to the main number, and we let the lawyer know that we're running this campaign. The value is it's for friends and family. So they win two ways. One is that they'll get referrals out of it. So that's way number one they win. And way number two that they win is sometimes people will call with things that are not relevant to PI. They'll say, like, I have like a divorce question, or I have a question about this. I want to create a will for my kids. And what'll happen is the lawyer will typically refer those things out, but almost always they benefit because if I refer a lawyer, like if a lawyer refers another case to a lawyer, almost always that lawyer will feel a sense of obligation to refer something back. So even the people they can't directly help, that they'll benefit from that in general. So I'll send you the exact campaigns. Like, no need to reinvent the wheel. I would just ask you if you can right now, shoot me a private message just with your email, because I'll forward it to you by email. That's probably a little bit easier. Oral says, if you work all day, you no longer have time to earn money. Gunter Fulton, it's a quote, German entrepreneur. This wasn't so much a question, but I just wanted to elaborate on it because there's a certain type of person that I see in this agency space who's between 5 and 10 clients, and they're working between 40 and 80 hours a week, running around like a chicken with their head cut off. And I don't say that in like a judgmentally way, a judgy way, because I've been that guy. So I'm not like telling you guys to not ever do that. But I'll tell you what ends up happening is when you're in that phase, you work way too fucking hard to the point where you actually can't make any money because you're working all day. And shit just gets really, really serious. And so one of the things that I think is really, really important One of our good friends in the group, Larry Weinstein, the accountant wizard, calls these TPS days, and he calls them TPS stands for thinking, planning, and strategy. And if you do not have time to do those things, thinking, planning, and strategy, then your business and your is going to grow slower than you'd want. In fact, I would say the best thing you can do is focus on maximizing TPS time, and the more and more, the longer you do this. But Larry just focuses on every Friday is a TPS day. Like I block it out on my calendar. There's no calls. There's no employees. I make time for TPS time, and whatever the right amount of time is for you, I'm not here to tell you what that is. But I think at least some of your business time has to be developed or dedicated to TPS time, actually thinking about what are my goals, how do I get there, what are the steps, what are the moves, who do I need to help me accomplish that, what does my infrastructure have to look like to accomplish that, where am I bleeding time and energy now, what can I eliminate out of this, what can I delegate, what can I automate, those kind of questions. That high level thinking time is actually to me the real CEO work that you guys got to do. And if you do that, you'll end up with better businesses out of it. Rick says, Frankie Finn, quick question. I think you said 10 is the magic number when sending out an offer to a cold list on a training. And if one person raises their hand, they want info, is that considered a winner or a start? And what would be considered a jackpot response? Also, would you test 3 different offers at the same time to 3 different sets of 10 or send more than 10? Thanks, Rick. I already kind of answered this in the group, but I know a lot of you guys don't always see like every little thing that I do. So I kind of wanted to throw this out there to benefit those of you guys who are trying different things. You're trying to get clients, and some of it's working, some of it's not, and those kind of things. Like, how do you get to that next level? First thing is, let me clarify something here. Is when I say I like to test an offer with 10 people or 10 like different things, there's no real magic number for 10. What I'm aiming for is a lot of times when people are trying to get clients and they're in that beginning kind of stage where they're trying to like really grow the business and have it take off, is I see a lot of people do a lot of things that are not making offers to real life people. They update their website for the 270th time, even though nobody ever visits their website, and things like that. And they get business cards made up and things like that. And I'm not saying like don't ever do any of those things, but the thing that really moves the needle in that stage is taking an offer and putting it in front of a real live human being in your market. Whether you do that through paid ads, organic message, content, on and on, doesn't fucking matter, but you got to put offers in front of real people. Like, that's the only way to move the needle. And so the magic number with 10 for me is I want to be able to put my offer in front of real live people and create a test to find out whether this is something they would want. But I also don't want to make the test so big and so hairy and so massive that executing on it becomes difficult, right? So I like to, like, usually with 10 people, I'll know if not even a person out of those 10 says, okay, that sounds interesting, then chances are if I send it to 10,000 people, it's not really going to change that much, right? So that's the magic number of 10 is we want to create little small tests, put offers in front of real people and find out. Then you said, is that considered a winner or start? Well, what would you consider a jackpot response? And I said here in my original reply that I think jackpot is a little bit of a misnomer, because what a lot of folks think is there's some magic script that you're going to send people, and they're going to be like, here's my credit card, here's all my money, just like take it all and just throw the wallet at you. That was a little weak ass throw. Let me try that again. All right. And that's about as realistic as I have friends who are in the dating space, the pickup, the seduce women space. And there's a certain type of guy who's looking for this magic script that's going to get women to want to get naked with them and make babies and whatever, right? Like whatever kind of naughty fantasies they have. And the truth is there's no magic script that makes women throw the panties at you any more than there's no magic script that makes people throw their credit cards. Sales begin and offers begin, and this process begins with curiosity. And so the right kind of answer that we're looking for is some form of, that sounds interesting, can you tell me more about it? That doesn't mean like they're going to, and they won't use those exact words, but it'll have that kind of look and feel and flavor of just like, they'll take a step towards you. Can you tell me a little bit more about how this works? That's what I'm looking for when I put an offer out there. Because if people won't say, I'm curious to know more, they won't buy it later either. That doesn't mean every time somebody's curious, they're going to give you money, but it's a very, very strong indicator that you're in the kind of the right ballpark. So that's the reason what I'm looking for in a jackpot response is just people to say, "Hey, I'm curious. How would that look like? What would?" And you guys will see me do this actually in the group if you pay attention. If those of you guys who are in the group, because I will do things like, "Hey, I'm thinking of putting together a free training on blah blah blah. Would you guys be interested in it?" I'm floating out an offer to see me if a bunch of hands go up, and if not a bunch of hands go up, I don't make it, right? So that's me like testing an offer in like relatively easy, no muss, no fuss, and that's what we want with offers. Is like when you're coming up with new stuff to sell or breaking into new markets and new niches, you want to be able to float offers out there with relative ease and know whether or not it's going to work and know quickly, because not nobody bats 1,000, me included. Like I that's a thing I don't think is talked about enough in this space is like I strike out. I take at bats and I strike out, and so will you guys. So what we want to do is be able to test our offers really really quickly, because we don't want to spend all these times designing services and creating websites and funnels and ads for things nobody wants. So we want to just create little tests that we can put out there and know whether or not people would say, yeah, I'm curious. I would potentially buy that. Tell me more about it. That's what we're looking for in that kind of situation. Josh says, what's the most underrated tool at the digital marketer's disposal? Ooh, I'm going to give you the secret tool that I think not enough marketers use, which is these two things right here. And I think all of the pros do this, something called active listening, which is you have to have some way to have a feedback loop with the people you're intending to influence. So you either join communities or you get to know people in real life or you have clients that you can ask questions to, but you need a feedback loop to like actually calibrate what you're doing. All the pros, like I said, do this. It's some form of what I would call active listening. It's a very underrated tool because I see marketers do this all the time, is they create services and products and offers and delivery and things backwards. They create them out of their own need instead of out of the market need. So I gave an example of this before, but my hometown of Windsor, Ontario, Canada has pizza places galore and auto body shops. And most of the auto body shops start because a guy says, I don't want to work for somebody else, so I'm going to create my own business. The problem with that is the market doesn't fucking need another auto body shop. And so all these places struggle for business because there's too many of them to begin with. Now, the flip side of that is there was a guy who I remember I was at my brother's. Chinese food guy came over and he hit my brother's parked car. It backed up into my lady's car, and we had to get two cars repaired. And it was a real pain in the ass. We had to go to an auto body shop, and most of them said, hey, we don't work on Volkswagen. And they ended up referring us to a Volkswagen guy who was busy and booked out, and he had a ton of stuff going on. And he was the only guy in the city who worked on Volkswagens. And that guy was successful easily because his business was created out of a market need. So I think the most underrated thing are these things, is actually listening to what does your market need and want, who are these people, and find the gaps and serve those gaps. And if you guys do that, your offers will convert better, your stuff will work better, you'll be more in demand, right? It's not usually a giant switch either. Like, it's the difference between I'm an auto body shop and I'm an auto body shop for Volkswagen, right? There's not a ton of difference. But if you understand those little nuances because you have an active feedback loop, you'll be so much better. And so for those of you guys who've never done this before, I have a training both in this Facebook group and on YouTube. I'd probably watch it on YouTube. It's called The Unfair Sales Advantage. And I walk you through exactly how to get your market to tell you exactly what problems they're looking to solve in their own words, so you can parrot it back to them. It takes about 10-20 minutes. The best copy you'll ever write in your entire fucking life will be written by your clients, not you, because it's done by active listening. So that, I think, is the most underrated tool. Jonathan says, hello, agency owners. I'm 18. I have been running my business for almost 3 years. Right now, I've changed my agency model from general agency retainers to performance-based. I've as well changed my niche. The thing is, I've been getting new clients. It's been hard getting new clients. I've done cold calling and email marketing, but I'd like to know how you guys are structuring your sales prospecting to gain client meetings. Jonathan, This is probably going to be an incomplete answer, but I wanted to let you know that one of the things that I'm going to be working on for you guys, everybody like seems to think I'm this outreach guy, and I have like done outreach successfully over the years, but I'm a bigger believer in inbound, driving people to you, where they come to you and say, "Dear Mr. Expert, can you help me?" or "Dear Mrs. Expert, can you help me?" And it changes the entire dynamic of the relationship after, because they took the step towards you. So you can have much more of like a doctor kind of frame, like a heart surgeon specialist kind of frame, like I'm going to help you, and not as like a door to door salesman kind of like perception. And the way this shows up is when they see you as the expert, everything that happens after that sale is easier if it's done with inbound. So having said that, like, the basics don't change. Of 90% of this is identifying who the shoe buyers are, the people who spend the money, and making an offer that's meaningful to them. But I'm a much bigger believer in doing this in inbound. And so much of this, I kind of highlighted a little bit of how this can be used. I've got a training that I call the side door. It's about how we're getting 10-cent buyer leads on YouTube. Actually, cheaper than that. They're more like 4 cents on some of our campaigns. But what makes that work is being able to identify the buyers and then make an offer that's like very pull. And if you do that, what will happen is you will pull people into your world. So I would focus on, like, obviously nailing your offer and nailing who the buyers are, and then focus on things that are inbound. And I'll tell you, I don't think enough people are efficient about this. So I'll give you an example of this. Okay, you can send 10,000 messages to lawyers if you're in a space like mine, or you can identify one influencer who puts on a conference for 10,000 lawyers and offer to do a free training for their buyers. And what will happen is, effectively, you will get put in front of 10,000 people, but one of those takes less than an hour to do, and you only have to talk to one person, and one of those takes massive amounts of like warming up emails and messages. And so almost always when people think about this, they think about driving inbound as a volume thing. And I'm a much bigger believer in identifying what people are buying, adding value to those communities of buyers, and then doing that to drive inbound is and that's going to be a little bit more of a focus for 2023, because I think it'll make your lives easier. So I'm going to show you guys more of how we're doing that. And to give you an advanced version of this, is we use this now. How we're using this is to warm up icy cold audiences. So some of you guys saw I did an interview with the legend himself, Jay Abraham. One of the things we're doing with Jay Abraham is I'm actually working on a revenue share deal with him right now, but I'm also want to get more revenue share deals out of his audience. So I will take bits of that content. I haven't launched these yet. And I will warm up Jay's audience with content of us being seen side by side. And then I will simultaneously promote offers to his audience at the same time as them seeing us side by side. And so that's my way of like siphoning kind of influencer buyer traffic. It's a really advanced thing, but that's my a long-winded rant to say, figure out the basics of getting in front of the buyers in your offer, but then on top of that, drive inbound, man. Don't chase. Drive it to you, and I would do everything inbound, because I just think it's a better model in general. And I'm going to be talking more about that in 2023 to help you guys be able to bring people to you rather than because I want you guys to be heart surgeons. I want you guys to be experts where somebody says, "I'll pay whatever it takes, please help me," and not be door knocking looking for a perfect script. Not that I'm against door knocking, but there's far more efficient ways of doing it, and I think they're better for retention and everything that comes after it. Easier clients. So thanks for that question, brother. Trevor says, okay, I have a major issue. Agency is growing and I'm having a hard time finding staff locally. I need a solid team for social media management of multiple accounts, any white label services, or someone interested. Certainly we have good white label people. I tell you, Trevor, this is an opportunity though. If you're not able to find staff locally, it's time to start going to staff remotely. Like, our business is just perfect for going remotely. Like, there's no reason to have all of your staff have to sit next to you. I mean, Zoom meetings, you guys can go over absolutely anything. And the other thing I would say is, if you want someone to be able to manage those accounts, you have to at least make basic video trainings talking about what you're doing, why you're doing it, how it's going on. Even if they're not complete standard operating procedures, You at least want to get your basic philosophy and decision making out of how you're running these ad management accounts. Otherwise, you're going to have a really hard time doing them your way, and you'll end up just micromanaging the people you get because they won't do it your way anyway. And the best thing you can do is like record yourself doing it, and then you can bring in almost anybody anywhere, and you'll have probably more than a 50% success rate hiring, which is really, really high for those of you guys who've never hired before. That's insanely high, as if you're going to have 50% success because people will know what to do. So that's my way of saying, like, for real, get all that stuff dialed in, and then maybe you might want to white label it, and maybe you won't. But I'll tell you, the more and more you have those systems in place, the easier your life will get. Systems are the secret, by the way. For those of you guys who don't know this, having a tight niche and systems and processes are how you can like manage a business in 5 hours a month and spend most of your time at the beach. In fact, one of my real estate mentors, I'm just getting into some real estate stuff. People are blown away that he does $10 million a year worth of real estate acquisitions and manages it in 5 hours a week, or 5 hours a month, not a week. And so much of that is he has systems and he has processes and he has training and he has people in charge of that. What's up, Patty? Good seeing you, brother. Yuchi, I hope I'm saying your name right. Do you think picking a niche is a good idea? Yes, although I don't think picking a niche is the complete picture. Firstly, I think people misunderstand what a niche is and why they're picking one. So I think what a lot of people, when it comes to picking a niche, what they think they're doing is looking for this secret hidden source of money. If I pick the right niche, I will find all the monies. And the truth is, if there is a niche at all, there's at least some money in it. And what most people do is they chase, like, looking for this perfect niche where they're going to find money. And the truth is, every niche has a spectrum. Like I say, they're broke roofers and they're $100 million roofing companies. They're broke lawyers. There's billion-dollar law firms. And this is true in every niche. There's people struggling to sell their first product in e-com. There's people crushing it. If you work with Etsy sellers, there's people struggling to sell their first Etsy candle, and there's people doing $100 million a month or whatever. So understanding that there's a spectrum. So I think it's not enough to think niche. I think about sub-niche, and I want to aim it for the most expensive thing they sell in their niche. Now, let me tell you why you actually want a niche, because if you understand this, you won't get hung up in like looking for the perfect niche. The point of a niche is not so you find this secret source of money. It is so that what you do once can be repeated 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 times. So like, for example, when we ran the stuff for like motorcycle lawyers, the first time you set that up, it's a lot of fucking work because we're running ads and landing page and there's a book and there's follow-up emails and there's a lot of moving pieces. But the second time I set that up, I copy and paste the same landing page, the same ads. I mean, I modify it 10% to change, like, instead of California, it says Florida. Instead of Florida, next time it says Nebraska. But 90% of it is the same. And so we're able to copy and paste the deliverable. And so what happens is, even though the first time it has a massive amount of energy, the second time and the third time, it actually is very, very easy to deliver. And so what happens is, those kind of agencies scale much, much better. They go to the moon, as the crypto folks would say. They go to the moon a lot easier because what ends up happening is copy and paste is all you're really doing to deliver results for people. The asset is doing the heavy lifting, not you, the agency owner, having to solve all the problems. And so the point of picking a niche is so that you can have a copy and paste deliverable. Now, having said that, there are bad niches, especially the worst ones are ones who don't spend on ads, or the ones who are like entirely insurance driven and don't deal with that. But the point of a niche, like I said, is not what most people think it is, to discover this hidden source of money. It's to make your fulfillment life easier. So I think the point of picking a niche is to find a sub niche within, to aim it where all the high level money stuff is going and the highest level people. So I always say, like, the easiest way to choose your sub niche is like choose a niche, like say you got dentists or doctors or whatever. And then what you want to do after you got like a dentist or a doctor is to then think about who are the most successful dentists and what is the most expensive thing they sell, and help the winners win more to sell their biggest thing. And that to me is like the best niche to be in. And then what you're looking for, like I said, is copy and paste on the deliverable side. And this is a mental shift that has to happen, because I've heard people give me a hard time about this over the years. Actually remember some guy the other day said, like, I don't believe in that cookie cutter shit. And in his mind, his value is created by I solve problems, I'm the doer, and all those things. And that is the mentality of like a service provider. And nothing wrong with that. But service providers don't usually who have that I won't do cookie cutter mentality, don't usually make more than 20 grand a month max. And maybe 20 grand enough might be enough for you. So I'm not like shitting on that. But the folks who have 100 million or $100,000 a month or $300,000 a month agency have copy and paste deliverable and systems in a well engineered process, as my man Josh Nelson would say. And the idea, the difference in thinking is thinking like as an investor, where my asset is the value, my machine, my process, my systems, my deliverable. That's the value, not me. Right? And so we want to own machines. And I'll tell you how I've said this over the years to help people really understand this, the difference between these. What's up, by the way, Kev? I guess you did hop on at the right time. Would you rather have a $2,500 per month Facebook ad client, or would you rather own a system that clients are paying $2,500 per month for? Now, the answer should be pretty obvious. Like, the answer is the system, right? Like, you want to own the system. You don't want to be the doer and have the client. And yet, I would tell you, in practice, 99.9% of people are not working to own the asset, to own the machine. They're working to have a client. And so the point of a niche is to have assets, repeatable systems and process that do this. And then what ends up happening is you can own like 5 agencies of that kind that are easier to own than 5 to 10 custom clients. The other thing too is almost always, if you really understand this, other people have assets all the fucking time that they don't understand are useful. In fact, we got into our motorcycle case stuff because, I don't know, a couple of years ago, I reached out to my friend who ran motorcycle case stuff, and I said, like, how's that going? And he said, oh, we have like, I don't know, like 14 clients paying us for it and they're all happy, but I'm not running any more of it. And I said, why not? And he said, well, we're going after mass torts. And mass torts are these, for those of you guys who don't know, they're big class action lawsuits. So like 1,000 people want to sue Johnson and Johnson or the Ford Motor Company or whatever. And so they're bigger, like sometimes $100 million cases and above. And so he had this like really high value case thing, these motorcycle cases that he wasn't doing anything with, an asset sitting there doing nothing. And so I remember I reached out to him and I said, dude, I'd be interested in running that for clients. Like, would you be open to sharing that? And we went back and forth, and he said, well, if you pay me $450 every time you run it, I'm okay with it. And so it cost me $0 up front to secure that asset, and I got to pay $450 every time I get it, or every time I use it one time to get a $2,500 a month client. And I have all the deliverables and all the processes and all the ads and all the systems and all those things, right? So that's the other thing, is when you understand I want to own the assets. The assets are everywhere and often completely underutilized. So there's no rule that says you even have to create the asset. I know that's a little bit advanced for answering a niche question, but I wanted you guys to understand the point of owning a niche is so that you can own a machine. And the other thing that's noteworthy is there's lots of other machines that people don't realize are valuable that you can often secure with zero cash up front. In fact, that's the power of assets, is when you understand I'm working for assets, not for money, is assets can often be acquired for zero cash up front and can produce cash for you. And there's all kinds of these and no shortage of them all over. So I hope that's helpful to you guys, because that's a little bit of an advanced topic. That's probably something I talk about a little bit in the mastermind, is like understanding you're working for the machine, to own the machine. That's the point of having a niche, is that we want a repeatable machine. Like, what would happen to McDonald's if somebody came in today and said, well, I want lasagna, and then tomorrow somebody said, can you guys make Chinese food, and then somebody said, can you cater an event? Like, they wouldn't be able to repeat the system. They wouldn't be able to be in like 12 gazillion fucking locations, right? It started like the big companies, by the way, that like almost always they start with just one thing. McDonald's started with one thing: hamburgers. Amazon started with one thing: books. When you're scaling up, the only, in my, at least in my opinion, there are occasional exceptions to the rule, but like 95% of the successful agencies I see that scale up have one type of client, one problem they solve, one solution, one deliverable, and they do it over and over and over and over. And it's the machine they're owning, it's the well engineered process they owned, not the deliverable. So that's a long winded rant, but I want you guys to understand what the purpose of a niche is. So, having said that, yes, I'm a believer in niches. I'm also a believer in aiming at the most valuable sub niche, and I'm also a believer in build systems to do that. And what will happen is you'll build a very, very valuable, unique agency that will deliver high value for your clients, but is dog shit easy to manage, right? Like the guy who told me, oh, I don't believe in that cookie cutter stuff like that. I guarantee you he works 100 times harder than I do at running a fucking agency. And not like trying to compare whose dick is bigger, because I've been in the same shoes and I used to believe the same things, but I'd be almost willing to bet my life savings that he's probably underpaid for that kind of mentality. So we want to own the system and we want to be smart about that, and that's the kind of the goal with the niche. So I hope that's helpful to you guys. That looks like all the questions. I just wanted to mention, I forget what I had as an opening announcement, but it's good seeing you guys and all the agency stuff you guys are. Oh, what I mentioned, for those of you guys who got the El Chapo ads or the raise your prices to the moon and back, we're going to be doing some bonus calls for you guys just to help you guys dial whatever you want to dial in your agency. Can be anything, really. Like sometimes it's the front end. How do I get the clients? Can you help me fix my offer? Can you get some strategy? Sometimes it's the back end. How do I fulfill on it? Sometimes it's dealing with the clients and the craziness and the communication. How do I fix this situation, that situation? They're asking me for that. The scope is creeping or whatever. Or sometimes it's just like hiring and things like that. And sometimes it's advanced stuff of like, how do I keep my clients happy and retained long term? And how do I build assets and things like that? But I'll tell you, the longer I do this, the more I think like an investor, and you guys, the more you guys think about your businesses like investors, you'll do better than those who see themselves as service providers to kind of be bossed around. So that's all I got for you guys this week. Much love for you guys, and may the force be with you.